session tonight. As you know, we've joined up on the TAC submission in the hope of receiving some funding through the TAC grants process. And the TAC engaged the clubs this way because they want to get their message across about road safety and the things that contribute to some of the accidents you hear about and some of the things that we can do differently to actually change those outcomes. So thank you for sticking around. Linda, thank you for recording this tonight. We complete our submission and it has to be in by the end of August. Had a meeting with the SFNL on Monday night and they're quite confident that we could receive a $10,000 grant if we do a really good application. The reason for that is that the TAC have been doing this for a number of years and they find that the same clubs keep coming around and they're trying to get to new clubs. We've never received any funding through this, so it could be a really good opportunity for us. And because we've got 6 teams, we've got a really broad reach. So if we do a really good submission, we're hopeful that we can secure that funding. All the funding will be put back into the football department, so equipment, behind the goals netting, new footballs. Can't make the ground bigger, sorry, but we'll do what we can. We'll invest it all back into the football. So thanks for coming down. So I wanted to ask, as I was thinking about tonight, has anybody here been impacted by road trauma? Has anybody lost a friend, a member of family? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to tell us about that, George? Who was it?
Oh, yeah, it was an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were back in high school and worked at the wet conditions. She worked in Pike Car and
Rex's family also had an experience with this. Rex had 2 younger brothers, Trevor and Alan, 19 and 16. They used to live in Mount Gambier and they decided on Anzac Day to drive up to Adelaide to take part in Anzac Day festivities. They marched, they went to all the commemorative services, etc. They were there all day and Trevor made the decision at the end of the day, late in the evening, he was going to drive back to Mount Gambier because he had work the next day. So they jumped in the car and off they went. Somewhere along that journey, the car veered off the road, they rolled, they smashed into signage and they were both really seriously injured. Alan got taken to Mount Gambier Hospital, he was least injured out of the 2, and Trevor got airlifted to Adelaide Hospital. He was in there for 3 days and Rex's parents sat there by his bedside for 3 days, and up to 3 days they had to make the decision to turn off his life support. So what a horrible thing to have to do as a parent. Obviously Trevor never got to do his day's work, and so when you look at the things that perhaps contributed to that accident, a young driver driving when he was tired, late at night on roads he wasn't familiar with, he paid for that with his life. And Alan, he was seriously injured. He wasn't even allowed out of hospital to go to his brother's funeral. So a really significant impact on that family. And when you hear all the statistics about road, it's actually the stories behind it that are the really harrowing things. And that's the message we need to get across. It's the stories, how it impacts our families, our partners, whoever it is. And I know Rex's family today still bears the impact of that terrible accident. So, on that note, perhaps on a brighter note, we've got a couple of Victoria Police here today. One of them is Sean Ashenden. So this is Sean here. Sean is Rex's great-nephew, and he is also a past player of Endeavour Hills. When did you live with Sean?
When we first started.
2011?
Yeah.
2011, yep. So past player, and obviously also a member of the Victoria Police. Very kindly come down tonight with his mate Mitch, and they're going to talk to us about the police work for the road safety campaign. So, welcome.
Thanks, Frank. Yes, Fran said, I'm Sean, I'm an acting sergeant. I'm at Bradford Highway Patrol. So is Mitch. The area in Endeavour Hills is patrolled normally by Casey Highway Patrol. So they're the immediate local agency for you guys. But yeah, it's been an ex-player in this club. And, yeah, love it. And when Rex asked me, I was more than happy to come down and see you guys and see the new club rooms. It's been a while and it looks fantastic. fantastic. So we'll get started. But firstly, if anyone's been affected by road trauma, and this isn't going to trigger anyone, I'm not going to show you any gory videos or anything like that, but if you do want to leave the room, feel free at any stage to leave the room for that presentation, okay? What we're here to discuss is what the TAC does for road policing in general, and I guess they support people with injuries is, I'd say, what they mainly do. A lot of people that are involved in serious injury, collisions, car crashes, victims or offenders, it doesn't really matter. The TAC will cover costs of all that's involved. So they also work with other agencies like ourselves and Vic Roads, and have a lot of advertising and educational campaigns. But a lot of our registration goes to TAC, and that's the reason why registration is the cost that it is, because a lot of crashes occur every day, every year, every month. And it seems to be on the rise the last couple of years as well. So we want to try and reduce that. Just some stats you guys might be able to see. This is over the last 5 years on average. There's obviously 258 people on average die every year, and 43 of those between the ages of 18 to 25. It's mainly the 18 to 25 bracket, and more often than not we're seeing it's males. So the rolling 12-month average this time around, I think 108 males have passed compared to 58 females. So it's quite significant. Males seem to be getting in more trouble than not. Another little stat, again this is on average, that every 30 minutes someone is injured, every 4 days someone becomes severely brain damaged, every 17 days someone becomes a paraplegic or quadriplegic, and every day someone dies. This is just in Victoria, this isn't the country, this is the state, so it's pretty full on. Probably the biggest thing to take away from this next slide is that 93% of crashes are avoidable. So, especially at highway patrol and road policing, we say there's no such thing as an accident, and mainly we call them collisions because, like we see, most of them are avoidable. It all comes down to the ones that aren't avoidable. Some of them might have a medical episode behind the wheel, or it's a pure accident, but it's very rare it's a pure accident. More often than not, it could have been avoided, whether it's drunk driving, fatigue, weather conditions. There's a whole range of factors that contribute to the road toll, and 93% is just far too high. Just quickly, just to scope the room, what do you think the main, I've probably touched on it as well, what do you reckon the main contributors of crashes are? What are the main causes? Anyone have a stat?
Alcohol?
Yeah, alcohol's one of them, yeah. Fatigue, distractions, yeah, you've nailed half of them. Speed, yeah, another one. And then, I would say drugs as well. I think that's, and who driving. But yeah, no, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head for all those ones. The way that TAC has managed to reduce lives lost over the years, you might not be able to see it back, but from say 1970s when seatbelts were introduced, the number of deaths went from 1,100, and as you can see, it's slowly declined from 1970. 1976, we got breath tests were introduced, red light cameras in the 80s, speed cameras, bicycle helmets was a very big part of their campaign, the TAC campaign. Speed limits, which we see continually going down, and starting to. It's good to see it get lower and lower, but we want to get towards that 0 mark. But they're constantly introducing new things every few years to try and reduce that road toll. We'll get into some of the new measures they're bringing in as well further down this presentation. Which are these? I don't know if you've seen these. On the next slide, you might have seen the ones that are starting to come in, these portable ones. Does anybody know what they are?
Phones.
Yeah. They're phones and seatbelts, and they take incredibly good pictures to ID. We've gotten offenders from stolen cars through these and that kind of stuff. Like the photos, you can be doing 150 and it's still going to get out. Like the photos are really good, and obviously it's phone on lap. You can't have any seatbelts, anything to do with your phone or seatbelt. Take a photo of you and send a ticket in the mail. It's not a free ticket either. But yeah, a good piece of technology, and obviously it's another measure to put in place to try and reduce that road trauma. So yeah, watch out for those that say them. And yeah, these are the fines. There's a new financial year ticked over, everything goes up. So it's $593 and 4 demerits for a mobile phone. And then $395 and free for seatbelts. So especially if you're a P-plater, you only get 5 over 12 months, 5 demerit points, so you're nearly gone there. If you're on your Ps and you've got your phone, that'd be good for another 12 months. Because then you're looking at licence suspensions, that kind of stuff. So if your phone's in the holder, it's the best place for it, and don't even touch it if it's in the holder really. Unless it's answering a call and stuff, because yeah, it's quite strict and there's cameras to pick it up, and yeah, they send tickets in the mail, we don't even have anything to do with that, we don't see them, but it's another way to reduce that road toll. This is based on that. You might have seen these campaigns through the TAC for your phones that you're 10 times more likely to crash if you're using your phone just from those distractions. And it could be for 2 seconds, looking down, you're driving blind. So again, think about using your phones while driving, I'd say. Onto the drink and drug driving. Around 20% of drivers and riders that have been killed have had a BAC of over the legal limit of 0.05. And around 40% of the drivers and riders killed have drugs in their system, being cannabis and other stimulants, mainly methamphetamine and MDMA, is the main contributors to drug driving. So for your first offence, if you're a P-plate driver and you're over 0.000, but less than 0.05, so legal limit is 0.05, and you get done for drink driving, you're looking at 3 months cancellation of your licence. You get an alcohol interlock fitted for 6 months of your cost, which is quite expensive. You've got to complete the drink driver behaviour program, and then you get a new condition to having a 0 BAC requirement for 3 years, regardless of your licence status. So yeah, it's for all drivers, but mainly the P-platers, it's pretty significant if you were to be caught drink driving, and still under 0.05, which is the legal limit. But if you've got anything in you, then yeah, that's a consequence of the drink driving for P-platers. Alcohol elimination obviously takes time. We're getting a lot of people having a big night, and then we'll get it the next day, just from a random intercept, pull over, or even cruise bus or roadside PBT sites. 10, 11 the next morning, they've had a big night, and still blowing over 0.05. So just be mindful of that if you're going out and having a big night, particularly not eating or anything. The next day, the trend's spiking upwards, so we're still getting a lot. Well, I had one 3 days ago, so it's still that. So just be very mindful when you drink at night and you drive the next day. Some myths. There's no way to get alcohol out of your system except by waiting. Fresh air, exercise, vomiting, drinking, that doesn't help. You just got to give it time to get it out of your system. Here's one of those TAC campaigns we're talking about regarding drink driving. I hope it plays. We'll see how it goes.
When I'm driving, I want to make sure I'm under 0.05. How? 2 drinks in the first hour, 1 every hour after that. I'll also make sure that I eat a big meal first. Pacing myself helps too. Wait! If I drink plenty of water, I might allow myself 1 more. I'm a big guy, so I know I'll be fine.
The older guys again might have been familiar with that. There's no way to judge how if you're going to be over or under. It's too hard. So just be mindful. If you're going to drink and then drive, you want to be very aware of if you've eaten anything or how much you've had to drink.
When I'm driving.
Onto drugs and driving. Again, this is what we're seeing a lot of, probably more so than actually drink and driving, just from a personal experience. But obviously, it's legal to drive a vehicle if you're impaired by any use of drug. And we have the power to test drivers for any drugs. We don't need any reasonable cause or anything. Anybody can get tested for alcohol and drugs if you're driving in Victoria. We tested 3 types: cannabis, methamphetamine, and MDMA. MDMA is pretty much ecstasy. Cannabis is cannabis, and meth is meth. But what we're finding a lot of MDMA and methamphetamine is in speed, cocaine. It's in pretty much every drug out there. They use it to cut it down and get you more addicted, so just be mindful.
They're lacing cannabis with methamphetamine.
Yeah, we're finding that a lot as well, apparently. From speaking to a lot of people who pull over that we get positive for drug driving, they're pretty honest with us as well, and they might have had some extra weekend, and we're pulling them over on a Thursday, so 5 days later, and it's still in your system, because we don't test to see how effective you are. It's just whether or not it's in your oral fluid. That's all the law looks at or cares about compared to alcohol, whereas your level of how effective you are. Drugs has got to be in your system, and then we're looking at some pretty hefty fines and suspensions for your licence. It says 3 days on there, but yeah, we've had at least a week or more. It could be if you've got meth, particularly. That's quite strong and very easy to detect. A little stat there is, a driver who consumes cannabis, same risk of having a crash as a driver with a BAC of 0.07. So similar to drink driving. Again, you could smoke, and then it could be in your system for 2 or 3 days after you've had it as well. So something else to be mindful of there. So first offence, if someone who tests positive for drugs is a 6-month cancellation and a heavy fine. You need to complete a drug driver behaviour program, and the court might record a conviction against your name. So looking at police checks and that kind of stuff, you could have a conviction against you, and then it's not hidden. Quickly, motorcycles. Does anybody ride in here? Yeah. Maybe we're all safety gear and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's expensive, but it's there for a reason, and we're coming across a lot of ones that, people coming off, and it's not even their fault, and they're getting pretty injured. I think there's a little video that TAC have done as well, just protecting your whole body. That works.
At this very moment, the rider is protected. But it only takes 0.03 seconds for the sneaker to burst. 0.6 seconds for the jeans to disintegrate. The hoodie gone in 0.03 seconds. Then, like a human crayon, his flesh is shredded by the coarse bitumen.
And then finally, I think it is a little bit about hoon driving and what police can do. Anybody speeding over 45 k's over the limit, doing burnout, street racing, carrying more passengers, or driving unlicensed, drink driving or drug driving, you can't have it impounded straight away. There's no prize anymore. If you get done the first time, you look at your car, potentially being impounded for 30 days and having to go to court for that. So just, if you're aware, there it is again. First offence, vehicle impounded. Second offence, 3 months. Third offence is, 3 strikes you're out, your car pretty much gets, that's what gets crushed, along with heavy fines and even potentially imprisonment. Call Crime Stoppers if you see any human driving. Or visit their website there, and you can report it anonymously. Other than that, is there any questions about anything that I've discussed tonight? But otherwise, nothing. Then, thanks very much. Appreciate it, and hope you got something out of it. Just, don't want to try and make you feel bad or anything, but just be mindful of drinking, drug use, that kind of stuff. Even if you're a victim in a crash and you go to hospital, blood's get taken, and something's in your system, then you're looking at potential consequences. Even if it's not your fault, so I just want to stress that enough that it's not your fault still, no matter about something. But other than that, just be careful with your roads. Okay. Thanks, guys.